Welcome to this explainer. So, you're gearing up to make a killer YouTube video or presentation about numismatics, everyday artifacts, or maybe this specific highly fascinating European coin? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to arm you with every single observable visual fact you need to build a really compelling narrative. We're putting this artifact right under the microscope and doing a pure visual forensic analysis. No dusty history books here, just pure visual storytelling based on the evidence right in front of us. Let's jump in.
Okay, here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the object at a glance, decode that outer ring, look at the inner core silhouette, analyze the inscriptions, and finally synthesize all that visual data. All right, here is our primary evidence. Just look at this raw artifact sitting there on that textured wooden surface. We're going to do a comprehensive visual breakdown using only what we can see right here in this single frame. Now, when you're making your own video, establishing the sheer physical reality of your subject is step one. Notice how the lighting catches the ridges and the slight shadow it casts. It absolutely proves we're dealing with a real, tangible, three-dimensional object.
Section 1. The object at a glance. A macroscopic view.
Right away, notice those contrasting silver and gold tones. The exact professional term you'll want to drop in your presentation is bimetallic. We aren't just looking at a flat piece of metal. It's an object made of two distinctly colored metals, visibly separated into an outer ring and an inner core. And if you look really closely at the surface, right where those two metals meet, you can actually see the physical wear. We're talking microscopic scratches, a slight dulling in the reflection, and little dings along the outer rim. These details are absolute gold for your viewers because they tell a story. This thing hasn't been sitting in a sterile vault. It's passed through countless hands. Moving on to Section 2, decoding the outer ring, stars, spelling, and time. Now, I want you to focus exclusively on that silver-toned outer ring. Trace the perimeter with your eyes. Notice how perfectly spaced the design elements are. When you point this out to your audience, mention how this outer ring acts like a protective, unifying frame. The spacing is incredibly deliberate, and there's actually a mathematical rhythm to it that we're about to crack. This perfectly illustrates the geometric pattern alternating between exactly 12 stars and the letters of a specific word. Seriously, map it out. Star, letter, star, letter. The stars are five-pointed and raised, making this continuous chain that's only broken by the alphabet. It is a fantastic little visual puzzle. And extracting those alternating letters gives us the unmistakable origin of the coin. It spells out Slovenij, Slovenia. For your audience, this is the grand reveal of where this object comes from. The designers cleverly hid the nation's name right inside that universal star pattern. We also get some temporal data stacked vertically, giving us the year 2022. But notice it's not in a straight line. It's stacked, a 2 and a 0 on top with a 2 and a 2 right underneath it. Look at the bottom left edge of the outer ring here. That's where the text physically interrupts the continuous star and letter pattern. The 20 and 22 are squeezed right into that silver margin, pressed right up against the boundary of the gold inner core. This instantly grounds the object in a very specific moment in time. But as we cross over from that silver outer ring into the gold center, we're hit with a massive question. Who is the figure prominently featured in the center? This right here is the core mystery your video should pivot on to keep your viewers completely hooked. Which brings us to Section 3, Inner Core, the silhouette, a figure of importance. Check out the heavy, solid silhouette of the person facing left. It totally dominates the upper central real estate of that inner core. It's a profile shot. You get the outline of the hair, forehead, nose, lips, and chin. But notice, there are no internal facial features at all. No eyes, no expression lines. It's an entirely flat, raised silhouette, giving it this incredibly monumental, statue-like vibe. Here's the crucial takeaway. You do not dedicate the absolute center of a nation's currency to someone unless they are entirely foundational to that nation. Visual real estate dictates importance, right? This silhouette is literally the heart of the coin. Make sure to tell your audience that in numismatic design, the center is strictly reserved for monarchs, national heroes, or absolutely vital symbols. Section 4. Analyzing the inscriptions, block, and cursive text. First up, we have these rigid uppercase block letters acting as an official nameplate. It says France Prešeren, complete with that distinct little caron or wedge mark over the S. It is highly legible, super formal, and very authoritative. You can see how that text acts as this anchoring border. It perfectly follows the curve just inside the metal transition line on the lower left of the gold core. It hugs the perimeter, almost framing the artwork above it. So there's the literal identity of our mystery silhouette. Next, we pull out this incredibly elegant flowing cursive script dominating the center. It reads, Shivet Naizi Narodi. The letters are swooping with these deep dramatic loops on the S, the J, and the D. It honestly looks like it was written with a very expressive traditional fountain pen. And observe how that cursive phrase actually overlaps the bottom of the silhouette. This is such a brilliant design detail to highlight. It creates three-dimensional depth. The text isn't just sitting next to the profile, it sweeps right across the neck of the figure. It creates this sense of artistic movement, tying the person and the words together in a really intimate way. This contrast is striking, and it is a massive talking point for your viewers. Think about it. On one hand, you've got the rigid structural block text of the name acting as a formal boundary. On the other, you have the fluid, dynamic, artistic strokes of the cursive phrase totally breaking those boundaries and overlapping the imagery. Visually, it communicates that this person, France Prešeren, is probably associated with the arts, literature, or fluid creativity rather than strict military or political rigidity.
Finally, Section 5. Synthesizing the visual data, the complete creator's cheat sheet.
Note down this summary if you need to, because here is your ultimate cheat sheet. It packs in every irrefutable structural and typographic fact we just extracted directly from the object. You've got the bimetallic design, the 12 perimeter stars alternating to spell Slovenia, the stacked 2022 mid-year, the dominant left-facing silhouette, the formal block text of France Prešeren, and that dynamic central cursive script. With this list, you have a completely factual, visually grounded foundation for your own video project. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder, and maybe even pose to your own audience. What story is this design telling purely through its visuals, even before you know the actual history? What does this exact combination of rigid geometric stars and flowing, overlapping artistry communicate about the culture that minted it? Use these visual forensics as your launching pad and go make an incredible presentation. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and happy creating.